and that's going to tell me how much time I have for each breath. Okay, this is my volume, tidal volume. Peak flow. Peak flow tells me how fast this breath is being delivered. Okay, so let's look at this test lung here just real quick. So if I take this and I turn it down to 10, I think it's going to be a slow breath or a fast breath. Think so? Let's watch that lung.
Okay, wait.
See how long it's taking to give that breath? It's like when you turn a hose on. If you barely turn it on, just a little bit of water goes out, right? If you crank it up, a lot of water comes out. So let's do the opposite now. Let's watch that test lung again. And let's take this up to, let's go 90. Now, watch how fast that breath's going. Would that be effective ventilation?
It's kind of fast.
It is kind of fast. So let's go ahead now. Next week, I'm going to give you guys a formula sheet. And it's going to be formulas you're going to use forever and forever on how to calculate peak flow and your I time, okay, your I ratios. So this tells me how fast this breath is given. Pressure support we're going to go into next week. Pressure support is only in spontaneous modes, like SIMV, where the patient can breathe spontaneously. And it's kind of like a little boost. It's like 10 centimeters worth of pressure boost for the patient. Makes it easier for it to breathe. Let me go back in here. This arm. There we go. Okay, so that's my pressure support. PEEP, positive and expiratory pressure, we talked about that today. Helps me, keeps the alveoli open. This is our flow trigger. We talked about flow trigger, didn't we? Okay. 1 to 2 is usually a pretty good setting to go. But make it less than that, it, pardon me, becomes too sensitive. Anything more than that, it's hard for the patient to trigger the ventilator. Okay? And then this is our FiO2. So I think we have that at 45 on the board. Okay, so these are our basic settings for a patient in volume SIMV. So remember, volume is volume constant, right? Pressure variable. So these peak pressures will go up and down depending on the compliance and resistance of the patient's airways. Okay. So let's let this cycle for about a minute, and let's go in and let's set up our alarms. Okay? Because the ventilator takes an average of about a minute's worth of breaths. And you'll need that when you set your alarms. If you set them too soon, they're still changing, and all your alarms are going to go off. And then you're going to get nervous, and you're going to think you did something wrong, and you're just going to start making a lot of mistakes. Set your settings. You're with me, if you're with Katie, just sit here and talk to us for a few minutes and let everything stabilize here for your settings. Okay? So now let's go ahead and let's do our alarms. So hit alarm limits. Okay, first thing it is our high rate. Now your book tells you go 10 above what your patient's breathing. And I'll tell you, most hospitals set their high rate at 35. But we'll go by the book. So if our rate's 14, what's our high going to be? 24. Okay. Now, this is where it can get a little confusing. So let's go ahead and let's go in here and let's bring up our VTE. Because remember, the tidal volume we set on the ventilator is not the tidal volume the patient's going to get, right? Let's do it. And why? If I have 600 set, and I tell you the patient's not going to get 600 tidal volume, would you believe me?
Yeah.
Why?
The tubing.
Tubing. Because we're going to lose it in the tubing. There we go. Whoops, one more. VTE. So VTE means tidal volume exhaled. So I have 600 coming out of this ventilator. The patient, though, of that 600 is only getting 540 milliliters. So they're losing 60 milliliters of volume in these tubings. Okay, so when I set my alarms, notice how it says low VTE. I don't want to use this because it's going to alarm on you. If you set your low VTE at 600, and it actually is 540, your low VTE is going to alarm. So go ahead, push that one, and the rules for your exhale tidal volume is 100 milliliters below and 100 milliliters above. So if we're getting an exhale volume of 540 milliliters, what's my low going to be?
40.
440.
So you go 100,
100 down.
under that, or what is that?
This way.
Okay.
That's why we pulled it up. So go ahead and set your low VTE. Hmm? Now, yeah, because it's in liters. Okay, now, so that's our low. High is you go 100 above. So what's our high VTE going to be set at? About 600? 640? Okay, so we got our high rate set. We got our low tidal volume set. We have our high tidal volume set. What are these two asking us to set? What kind of alarm?
Minute volume.
Minute volume, VE. So let's go back and let's find our minute volume.
Sorry.
Total VE. So this patient is getting 7.5 liters per minute volume. Okay, because it should be higher, shouldn't it? It should be a little bit higher than this, but we're losing the volume in the tubings.
Yeah.
So, rule of thumb, when you set your minute volume, is you're going to go 1 liter above, and you're going to go 1 liter below. So, if our exhaled minute volume is 7.5 liters, what am I going to set my low VE at?
6.5 or 6.6?
You have to go whole numbers on this.
Oh, whole numbers to 6.
So I'd probably go, what, 6?
Yeah.
So Misty set it at 6 for us, please. Okay, so what's our high going to be set at?
8, but wouldn't it be too close?
I'd probably set it at 9.
Okay.
So let's go ahead to our high VE and set it at 9. Okay, good. So we got our rate set, we got our high and low tidal volume set, and we got our high and low minute volume set. So the next thing we got to set is our high and low peak pressures. So let's look at our P peak, and our P peak is 9, which is unrealistic, but we're using a test one. So rule of thumb is usually 5 to 10 centimeters above and 5 to 10 centimeters below. So if we're at 9, what are we going to set our low at?
4.
4, 5.
4, 5.
The thing you got to think about is your own 5 of peak.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to set your low pressure below
Lower
your
than that,
peak.
yeah.
So I would probably go ahead and set my low P peak at 5. Okay. And what am I going to set my high at now? So 10 above.
4, 10 above.
You get this right. And it'd be 19, right? You leave it, Allison? Yeah. Okay, bye-bye. Have a good weekend. So let's look at our low peak. We're on 5 a peak, right? I would probably set my low peak about 40. Okay, and it's set. So now we have our alarms set, but they haven't changed in the ventilator yet, have they? I've got to hit alarm limits one more time. So go ahead and hit alarm limits now. Now you have your alarms set. And if you want to check and make sure they're working, let's just unplug our ventilator. Low peak. And when you see this white arrow, it means there's more alarms. Low peak, everything's low, right? We're disconnected, and circuit disconnect comes up. Now, let's plug it back in, and let's let the alarms reset themselves. And you'll see them start going away. Okay? Okay, everything's changed from red to yellow. So let's go ahead and hit reset, and we're back to a green screen.
Okay.
Pretty cool?
It makes sense now.